I want to continue to talk about the match between Barcelona and Alaves, where they have won 2-1. I want to speak about what Xavi had to say about Barcelona's current mentality status. And so this is what Xavi had to say. The negativity around the team and the criticism is affecting my players. Above all, the youngsters. The veterans like Lewandowski and Inigo Martinez aren't really affected by it. The criticism does not affect me. It affects the players. I can see it in their faces. People said I was the cancer of Barcelona, and now I'm here as the manager. I have zero doubts that the criticism from the press is affecting the team. It happened to me as a player, and I can see it now. There's a massive wave of negativity around the team that is harming us. And so I'm going to be stopping it there because he did say like many other things, but let's stop right there and talk about the mentality issue of the thing. I find this whole statement from Xavi Hernandez as a way to say this is an excuse on the reason why Barcelona have not been performing at their very best. He's basically saying this negativity that is coming from the press is affecting my players, and that is why my players are not performing that well. And look, to me, like with Xavi saying this, you're not going to fool us. You're not going to fool me. You're not going to fool anybody here in this YouTube channel. You're not going to be fooling anybody in the Barcelona fan base, like nobody. We know that there's always going to be negativity. We have seen this since the beginning of time, since the beginning of football time, right? Every player in every league, in every competition, every player from around the world receives negativity from the press. Everybody. And so this is nothing new. We have seen this before. We have seen this with every player. Go ask any club from, like, you can go to Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal. You can go to Tottenham. You can go to Bayern Munich. You can go to Inter Milan, AC Milan, Lazio, Napoli, anywhere. Go anywhere, and you will and ask those players that are playing at those clubs currently, and go ask the players that played at that club 10 to 15 years ago what they received when they were playing at their clubs. They received negativity a lot. It's nothing new. These players will tell you so many stories about the amount of stories they've heard about them. And they would also tell you that because of that negativity, it did not stop them. It did not make them say, oh, I'm probably not good enough to play at this club. It didn't stop them. Most of them usually say, well, we heard this negativity, but that only empowered us. That only made us feel better. But here at Barcelona, what Xavi Hernandez is saying is that you see this negativity that the press is giving us, that's surrounding us, this extreme toxic negativity. Yeah, that's affecting my players, and that's the reason why our performance is not that great. And like to us, right? To us Barcelona fans, that's an excuse. That is an excuse, right? Because look, don't think for a second. Don't even think for a second that you think that you can control the amount of negativity that is being input by the press. You cannot control that. That's going to be nonstop. That is going to be a forever thing, right? It's just going to go over and over again. You cannot stop them. But you know what you could control? You can control the amount of, actually, let me rephrase. You can control these players receiving this negative energy and say, you should turn this into positive energy, and you should have elite mentality. That is something that you can control. You can strengthen the inside of the club, the inside and the hearts of these players, and the mentality of these players. That is something you, Xavi, can control, but you cannot control the negativity surrounding, the club. What's going on the outside of this club? You cannot control that. You can't control these people. You can't control what they do because it's their job. It is what they do. But what you could do is control the inside of this club, right? When life gets hard, right? This is like about life too. When life gets hard and it gets difficult, you don't say, I just wish I had less difficulties throughout the day. You don't say that. What you say is, I'm going to improve myself. I'm going to become better so I can tackle these difficulties that come through me every day. Right? You self-improve. You don't try to reduce the amount of difficulties that happen outside of your life. That's exactly what should be happening here at Barcelona. You say, yeah, my group of players are experiencing and seeing a lot of this negative energy and stories and narratives from the press. We see all of that, but it does not matter. You guys can give us 1,000 negative stories per day. We're going to get better. We're going to be way better, and we're going to outperform our expectations, our level, and we're only going to be stronger from here because we don't care about these negative stories and these negative fairy tales from the press. And so, like, I promise you, like, this cannot be stopped, even if they don't play for Barcelona. Like, if Pedri goes to international break, Araujo goes to international break, Koundé, Lamine Yamal, Ansu Fati, Ferran Torres, Lewandowski, all of these players, right, when they're outside of Barcelona, they go into their international teams and they also experience the negative press. But you don't hear these coaches saying, oh, that this is the reason why my players are underperforming. You don't hear that, right? So they're going to experience that either way. So might as well just strengthen these players while they're at Barcelona and just make them better. Because, like, if you continue with this exact same approach, we're just going to continue to suffer against small clubs in La Liga, like what we saw against Alaves, 2-1, right? And lose 1-0 to, like, some random team in La Liga. Maybe Las Palmas, maybe Cadiz. We might tie 1-1. If you continue with this mentality, this is what it's going to lead to. And this is one of the reasons why I like this game against Alaves. Like, it made me so mad because of the way that Barcelona played against them. Like, they played with fear. They played as if Alaves was Bayern Munich. They played as if they were Man City, as if they were Chelsea, as if they were Liverpool of 2019, as if they were Real Madrid of 2014. Like, they were playing with fear. They were scared. Why be scared against Alaves? Do you understand who you're playing against? And like I said in the previous video, I'm not trying to disrespect Alaves. I'm not trying to say that Alaves is such a weak team that we should disrespect them. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's a huge difference between playing against Alaves and playing against a team like Bayern Munich or a team like Man City. Like, why be so scared? Like, I saw these players and they were trying to be so careful on the way that they make those passes and connect their passes, moving very slow because, again, they wanted to be careful. They didn't want to lose the ball. Like, they came in very timid. Don't come in there very timid. Don't go in there and be like, we have to be careful because, you know, Alaves could counterattack us and they can score against us. No, like, that's the wrong mentality. That is the wrong mentality. You will lose. You will tie against teams like Alaves, like Cadiz, like Las Palmas, like Espanyol, like many of those teams in La Liga. And so I strongly believe that it has to be fixed from the inside. There is something going on in this club that has to be fixed. So before you even talk about the negativity coming from the press, from outside of the club, not inside of the club, but from outside of the club, make sure everything is straight from the inside. Because you know what I seen a few hours ago that happened during the game? It was when Lamine Yamal, who played on the right wing against Alaves, he was trying to dribble through two players and he did successfully. He tried to shoot the ball, but the goalkeeper blocked that shot and Lamine Yamal almost scored. Like, a few seconds after that, Lewandowski was like, he's like, what was that? Like, you had me here. I was clear. All you had to do was pass it to me instead of shooting it. And then Lamine Yamal was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then he tried to give him a handshake and Lewandowski just went by him, not giving him a handshake, not trying to say, it's okay, don't worry about it, maybe next time. He just went past him, like, very frustrated. And so there is a big disconnect between Lewandowski and many of the players, and that is what you call toxic and negative energy. That is something that you could address. Don't talk about the toxic negative energy that is going on outside of the club from the press. Fix your issues from the inside first. Like, fix that. I hope people saw that. I hope people from the club saw that, right? Because that's not good. That's really not good. And that leads towards another conversation is, why is Lewandowski doing that to someone who was only 16 years old? And Lewandowski was 35 years old. Like what? Like, you're trying to belittle someone who's only 16, 17 years old? Where were you, Lewandowski, at 16, 17 years old? You know the position that Lamine Yamal was in. You were there before. So why try to belittle him and try to like one up him and say, don't worry, I liked your idea, but next time let's do this. In the next play. Why not do that? Why ignore Lamine Yamal, who's just trying to do better, who's just trying to score, who's just trying to move and go through two players, something that Lewandowski cannot do? Why? Tell me. So if I was the coach of Barcelona, I would have easily seen that and be like, okay, that's something that we have to fix. Because before we even begin talking about tactics and systems and formations, let's make sure that the relationships between each player is 100%. Let's not have these tensions. Because if we continue to have these tensions between these players, like what we saw between Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski, we're not going to be getting nowhere. And don't even think that just for a second, just because you were La Pichichi winner from La Liga and you won La Liga last season gives you the right to belittle our youngsters like that. That should never happen. Never. Right? If you're going to continue with this type of energy and bring this type of toxic energy, I hope Xavi Hernandez does make the correct decision and say, okay, you know, like, I've seen the type of actions that Lewandowski has been doing. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. But in the future, when the situation arises, he's going to be out of this club and we're going to move forward with different players, because we cannot allow such players to act like that in this squad. And I wonder, right? I wonder what's going to happen in January when Vitor Roque does come in? Does Xavi Hernandez immediately just move out Lewandowski, benches him, and puts Vitor Roque and try to change the dynamic of our squad? Who knows? Now, I know it sounds ridiculous for me to say this because Lewandowski was also the man to score 2 goals against Alaves and put us in a advantage and made us win the 3 points, but still, like, it's not worth it. It's not worth trying to ignore this problem just because we want to kiss Lewandowski's ass because he's scoring goals for us this season. I don't want to belittle Lamine Yamal, someone who can exceed Lewandowski in the future, level-wise, maybe in about 5 to 8 years, and give us many more years at Barcelona. Lewandowski is only going to be here for maybe 1 to 2 more seasons, and that's about it. So there's no reason for us to disrespect and try to ignore the problems that is going on between Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski. It's not worth it. And so a lot of things do have to be fixed. Xavi Hernandez also said that this match had to be won with positioning and order. We needed to not rush and associate with your teammates in time. We did that for around half an hour. That is something that Xavi Hernandez did assess, and that's, again, one of the problems that I see is that he says, there should be no rush. We have to have great positioning. Like, yes, Barcelona is very well, much correctly positioned when we try to attack, but what's the whole point of doing that when you can't even pass the ball correctly and you lose the ball and then you have the opposition counterattacking us? Because we pass the ball so slow, we move so slow, we position ourselves so correct that we even forget to move, to open ourselves up for our teammates, and we can't even progress to go into the final third. We have so much trouble attacking, and that's one of the reasons why, is because we focus so much on positioning, but we don't move anywhere, right? We have Gundogan and Araujo and Koundé or Inigo Martinez or Christensen like having possession of the ball, and they can't even find any players to pass it to because they don't even want to move. All I hear is Xavi from the bench saying, position yourselves, position, but you're not allowed to move. What's the whole point? What's the whole point of playing football if you can't even move? And there's no urgency in anything, and anything that we do, when we find an open space from the defense of the opposition, you know, like when Xavi says there can't be no rush, that's the reason why we can't even capitalize off of our opportunities, because we're just so slow in everything. Where's the urgency? Where's the old Barcelona? Where's everything that, like, you know why these attackers look so annoyed from each other? Like, why we see Joao Felix always frustrated, not with no determination to attack, by the way, with Lewandowski ignoring Lamine Yamal. You know why they're so pissed? Is because they know that they're being outshined by the opposition's attack. Alaves' attack looked much more, like I always say, enthusiastic about playing their football, and that's the reason why they looked so much more dangerous than Barcelona's attack. And I know that annoyed Lewandowski, Joao Felix, Lamine Yamal, and whoever was up there up top. It annoyed them because they were being outshined by those random attackers from Alaves. And you know what that leads to? It leads towards the midfield not having the ability to control the match, right? Barcelona's midfield couldn't control the match because they couldn't, because they lost the ball, because they couldn't find any attackers open, and the attackers didn't want to move. And so when you lose control of the ball, right? When Gundogan loses the ball, when Xavi loses the ball, when whoever loses the ball, Pedri loses the ball, Fermin Lopez loses the ball, Alaves gains control, or any opposition gains control of the ball, and then they make that long pass to one of the defenders. Towards one of our defenders, and then one of the strikers of the opposition receives it, and then we have to suffer a lot. You see how, like, everything plays out into one thing? And the worst thing from all of this is that once our defense have the responsibility and the opposition has the ball and they made a great counterattack, we end up with a defense that's only led by Koundé. Koundé is the only one in the back, and Koundé shouldn't even be in that position in the first place. Koundé should be in the right center back position. Araujo should be in the middle with Christensen or Inigo Martinez on his left side. That should be our main defensive lineup. Like, bro, like where everything is wrong right now about this whole setup of Barcelona. Everything. I'm not trying to repeat myself, but it all leads towards one thing and the same thing. And that is the lack of urgency, the lack of enthusiasm from our attack. Our defensive line is wrong. Koundé should be our right back, not Cancelo. Araujo and Christensen should be our main center back pairing, and Valdez should be starting in the left back position. I'm just gonna leave it there. I feel like I'm talking too much, but that's basically it. That is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.